Howdy, howdy, and welcome back. It's another Workshop Wednesday. Today's topic is a strategy session, and we're going to talk about how to use Google Analytics to improve your search rankings. So it's going to be a tiny bit of build here because I want to show you a few things around connecting Search Console and Google Analytics. But really, this is made for those of you who are maybe not the implementers. You're not setting stuff up in Google Analytics, but you need to know how to use these reports. And that's what today's going to talk about, how to use them to improve your search rankings. Before we go a little bit further, I wanted to introduce myself. Welcome if you are new to Workshop Wednesday. My name is Chris Mercer. I actually do go by Mercer, and I'm the co-founder here at measurementmarketing.io. And maybe you found us through the podcasts and talks and other YouTube stuff that we've done. Maybe you found us through some of the platforms that we've worked with, like Digital Marketer, CXL Institute, Social Media Examiner. Maybe you are already a member, whether it's a Toolbox member, a Win Monthly Pass member, or an Academy member. If you're a member at measurementmarketing.io, welcome. Love having you here, however you found us. Our job is to help people just like you learn how to use these tools, and obviously analytics and Tag Manager, Facebook Data Studio, everything else that's available. But today, we're going to talk about using Google Analytics. And I am going to cover the framework, the Measurement Marketing Framework, because really these 5 key pieces come into play every single time we do a workshop. Remember, the first stage is planning. You got to think about the questions you want to answer, what information you're going to need to get those answers, what actions you're going to take based upon those answers. We're going to do a little bit of that today as we optimize our search rankings. Building is where you actually hook stuff up. I'm going to cover that ever so briefly today, just to show you some cool tricks, especially if you've tried to set up Search Console and failed with Google Analytics. I can show you probably why that's happening. Reporting is where you actually are going to look at the reports. We're going to spend some time going through the reports today, so you can follow along and go through those in your own Google Analytics. And then once you have the basics down, once you have your benchmarks, then you can actually start to forecast and say, okay, well, here's how my blog should start performing. And then you can actually measure against your forecast. That's how you optimize. So that's the Measurement Marketing Framework in a nutshell. All right, now with all of these trainings, your main goal here is to get one thing, one new idea, one new concept, one new way of hearing about something, maybe one cool trick that you didn't know you could do. And I'm going to cover a bunch of them today. So it is easy to get overwhelmed because this is all new stuff to most of us, right? So when you're watching this, just if you grab something new and you start your head to spin a little bit because there's so much stuff to be covered, don't worry about it. Practice that new thing. Then you can come back, rewatch this, and pick something else up new. All right, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Strategy session, using Google Analytics to improve search rankings. Now, we're just going to dive right in because that's how we do it here at measurementmarketing.io. I'm going to jump into Google Analytics. This is our Google Analytics. We're going to go into admin, and I want to show you something. First and foremost, you must, without a doubt, have to do this. You must connect Search Console to Google Analytics. So where you do that, I want to show you where that's possible. You go to All Products, and you will see it listed. It's normally going to be somewhere in the tops, but you'll see it say Search Console. In our case, ours is already listed. And then you click Link is what it would say here. I'm just going to click Adjust Link, because obviously that's what it says here. So, and you will see the options. So you're either going to see 3 things probably. One is you'll see the thing that's linked, which in this case, this is our website linked at measurementmarketing.io. So we know it's linked in the account. 2, you'll see nothing there, and then you need to add a link. And then when you do that, you'll see the third option, which would be a whole pile of Search Console stuff that you have access to that you can link. So that's probably it. But that's it. Once you do that, then you can connect it to all the different views that you have. That way, some views might have access to Search Console. Other views, maybe you don't need to have access to Search Console. But that is how easy it is to link Google Analytics and Search Console. Now, if you're already thinking to yourself, okay, Mercer, I have tried this. It is frustrating. I cannot figure it out. I set up Search Console. It won't let me link it, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to show you why I think that's probably happening. And for that, we're going to bring up Search Console. So this is Search Console. When you first come into Search Console and you go to create a new Search Console, Google's got this cool new way of doing it, a little split screen here. So they say, well, you can do it this new way where you just put in the domain, or you can do it this way where you put in the URL prefix, meaning HTTP or HTTPS. So this is the difference. See example.com here versus HTTPS, www.example.com here. So this one's a little more specific, and this one sort of encompasses it all. Now, if you're like me, you think to yourself, well, great, I want to do the one that encompasses it all because I want everything under one roof. And this is what it looks like. You come in, it says domain property, measurementmarketing.io. You click into it. In our case, you can see all the different stuff that's coming through, and we could fix things. And this is all Search Console stuff, right? So we're not going to cover how to use Search Console in today's training, but this is what it kind of looks like when you got it all working in Search Console. And then theoretically, you would want to link this account to your Google Analytics. And what you might be thinking, and I would agree with you on this, you might be thinking, oh, well, looking at this, obviously he's got this account linked to this account. But in reality, I don't. And that is where the rub is. That's where the issue is. So I'm going to go back here. Remember, we said there's two ways of doing Search Console. You do domain, or you can do these little specific URL prefixes. Which one do you do? The answer is you do both. Just do both. This one, because it's easier to use in Search Console, so that's why you do it. This one, because these are the only ones you can link into Google Analytics. I'm going to show you the difference. It's a very subtle difference, but hopefully it'll solve the problem for you. So if I come back into the original here, you see where it says measuremarketing.io, it's a domain property. See that says domain property. That's how I know it's this side. These you cannot link into Google Analytics. I am not sure why, but you can't. So cannot link those into Google Analytics. Maybe in the future, but not right now. And haven't been forever. So you have this. The other one, this other Search Console I'm going to show you, this is the HTTPS version. This style, because it shows HTTPS. That's not me typing that in. That shows there because it is this style, this URL prefix. And so that's what you have to create. And when you create these URL prefixes, these are the ones you have to use. When you do that, as long as you're using the same email to manage your Search Console that you're using for your Google Analytics, then you will see it in your list of things to link. That's how you do it. So if you've ever tried to, you're like, I have a Search Console created, you have to do that first. But if you already have one and it's not showing up in your analytics, the first thing to check is, are you using the same emails? Because you have to use the same Google emails. If you are using the same Google emails, check that property and make sure it doesn't say domain property. Because if it does, that's not linkable. You have to create another property, and you can do both. So it's not a problem to do both. You can have this one. This is how we do it. We use this for Search Console stuff. We use this one for Google Analytics stuff. And they basically collect the same details. Just this one is focused on HTTPS stuff. So that's because we use HTTPS as a website. So that's how you do that. And that's how you get it to show. And this is what it will show here. It'll say HTTPS or it'll show HTTP. Which one you use is based upon what you use as a website as default. For us, we use HTTPS. You probably do too. And if you don't, you probably should, because everything's moving to HTTPS. So that's what it should look like. It should be HTTPS and then your site. And if it doesn't show that, that's where the linking issue is. So that's hopefully going to solve some problems, because there is not a lot of documentation out to what's causing that. And that solves 9 out of 10 problems as far as linking these things. Now, let's pretend for a moment you already have this linked, as we do. Where do we go from here? So I'm going to go back to the home screen. So where do we find this? We're going to come into, first, the acquisition reports. Now, why am I looking at acquisition reports? Because acquisition reports are all about where are my users coming from. And in this case, I'm asking questions about search, Google search in particular, which is the Search Console. That platform only tells you what's happening on google.com. But this is where I want to know. I want to know what people on google.com, how they're coming to my site. So it's acquiring users, which is why it's under acquisition. So then I click on Search Console, and then I have these other submenus that pop up. And we're going to start with landing pages. So this one's a really cool report. And again, a couple of caveats to this. If you don't see something back here, it just means it's not linked, and you have to go through that linking process that we just talked about. And you'll have directions on how to do that. If you do come in here and you want to see today's stuff, right? So let's say I want to see this is July 29th is when we're recording this. So I come in on July 29th. So let me see what's going on today. You will notice it's not there. So I say, well, okay, that's weird. Let's go to what happened yesterday, July 28th. And we'll just look at July 28th. Guess what? Not a whole lot back there. Why is this happening? It's happening because the data is delayed by a couple of days. So just understand, when it comes to search, you're not seeing real time. It's just delayed by a couple of days. That's normal. It just takes a couple of days of processing, and then they pass it into Google Analytics. Totally normal. So if you see a big drop off like this, it doesn't mean that nothing happened yesterday. It just means that all of those clicks and everything won't register until tomorrow, because there's like a 2-day delay. It's only a report that's like that in Google Analytics, but know that that's a thing. So especially from a strategy perspective, when you're understanding what you're looking at, it's important to know. It's only up to the last couple of days. Okay, so now we've got our landing page report pulled up. I just did it for the last 30 days so we can take a look at it. And I've got our different landing pages. These are all the different pages that are the first page of a user's journey, the first page when they come to our site. And what is sending them to our site? Google Organic. It's all Google traffic. Now, how do I know it's Google traffic? Because it's landing pages within the Search Console report. So by default, it's only google.com traffic. They were just on google.com. They searched for something. They clicked on a link, hopefully, and then came over. But what's cool about this report is this is a landing page report, and it shows me all the landing pages. And then the first thing it shows is impressions. So does this mean that 2,500 people came to my site from Google search? The answer is no. because this information right here, this little information that's currently showing on this landing page report, is showing me how many times it was seen in search. So that means on google.com. And if you think about it, that's cool, because now you're getting information, not how many people saw it on your site when they were on your site. It's how many times this page showed in Google search results when they were on the Google search engine. So now I can see here's all the pages that were showing. It was showed 2,500 times. Notice the next thing is the click. That's how many people came to the site who saw this page. And then we see next to it the click-through rate, which is basically this divided by that. That's how you get the click-through rates. And of course, this is so important. Talk about search ranking. This is what it is. It's showing us the average position. So I can see average, I'm 49, which means I'm 5 pages deep in Google, right? So this page is really, it's impression of 2,500 times, but buried in the results. So real people are not seeing this. One person evidently went down quite a while to get to it, saw it, clicked on it. Thank you for that. And it created 9 sessions, 9 visits. So we can see here, just sort of automatically kind of a combination of what Google search is seeing and kind of helping to start to tie it into what Google Analytics is seeing. And Google Analytics picks up when they see your site, when they're actually on your site. So we're kind of combining 2 different data sources here, Search Console and what Google Analytics can see. So right away, we start seeing again, how many times was it listed in the search results? Of those times, how many times was it clicked? That's your click-through rate. What's your average position, right? So this gives you an idea of your ranking on average, right? What your average ranking is. So then I can go and I can see bounce rate. Now this is the analytics side of things, Google Analytics side. It tells us about engagement that's coming through. Same, bounce rate and the average pages per session. All I'm really looking at here is I don't really care what the number is, but I do care about the relationship between the numbers. So this says, well, of the person, right, this click that came through these sessions here, the bounce rate was much higher than my average site. So they came and they left. They saw this one page and they basically left. They didn't do much else. So it's a very high bounce rate, double what my site averages. So I don't think in this case, this page is really engaging people. Right now, it's very small sample size. So even though it's number 1 in impressions, it's not number 1 in generating clicks to the site. So, take that with a grain of salt. But I can see here, not really engaged, didn't really watch a lot of pages. My average is about almost 3. Here's about 1.5. So again, about half as many pages they saw. And there clearly wasn't any results in terms of e-commerce, but I can always flip that over to say, well, how many people became a lead? Because I have goals set up in Google Analytics. So I can tie in the landing pages to the actual goals that are coming through here if I wanted to. Okay. So that's just sort of top line what this is. Now let's actually start to use this report to improve search rankings. So I'm going to come through here. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at the one that's getting clicks. So I'm going to sort by clicks. Just going to click here. We're going to sort by clicks. And you're going to do the same thing. And we want to see, number 1, what are people coming to the site? How are they getting here, right? So in our case, measurementmarketing.io is coming through. And that's what they're clicking on. It's bringing me the most clicks. 95% of the clicks I got during this period of time came from Measurement Marketing or to this page. This is the lander. So now my question is, okay, what is this ranking for? Like, how do we know what they typed in where Google thought that basically 2,000 times it showed, measurementmarketing.io as an option 2,000 times, 2,000 impressions. And of those, 6% of the people, almost 7% of the people click through, which is a really good click-through rate. So now, how do I figure that out? Well, good news, you can just click through the link here. So you click through on measurementmarketing.io, it takes you a deeper level now. So here's 2 things to notice. 1, big giant hole, because at this point, Analytics is just it's just displaying, I should say, search data, search query data from Search Console. That's it. It's just displaying it. It cannot tie those 2 results, which is why it just doesn't show you anything at all. It knows site-wide what happened, but it cannot tie a specific keyword phrase or anything that they searched for to results. So there's that. But that's okay, because that's all we're trying to find here is what were they typing in that generated the click. So here I can see 130 clicks, which is the total that they clicked on. And I'm going to do that same thing. I'm just going to sort by clicks. And now we're seeing, okay, 47 of those clicks came from people who searched for measurement marketing when they Googled it. Others, measurementmarketing.io, they just Googled our name and they came to measurementmarketing.io and it showed in the search results that was 27 clicks. Chris Mercer, my name, they Googled that and 26 clicks came through after, being the impression of 700 people almost. Measurement marketing, again, measurementspacemarketing.io, Chris Mercer, Google Analytics. You see a pattern? I see a pattern. Here's what I say is brand. So people that are coming where this page is ranking, it's because Google's going, oh, you must be looking for measurementmarketing.io. So if you type in measurement marketing, it's going to display measurementmarketing.io. Now, how far up in Google search results am I? How do we know where we're ranking? And if you think back to what we've already covered, we just kind of follow the story here and we go, oh, page 1, So we're average ranking 1, which is great because we own the term measurement marketing. So if anybody's out there searching for measurement marketing, and you can go ahead and try this too, you should see measurement marketing. When you search for it, you should see measurementmarketing.io. When you click on that, then it would show a click, and in our system, it would show as measurementmarketing.io as the landing page. So that's how to start your journey. Maybe you become a Toolbox member or purchase something, and all of that stuff we could tie into the fact that you came from Google, which is really cool. Now, here, I know from a ranking perspective, I'm number 1 for measurement marketing. Measurementmarketing.io also makes sense because they're looking for the brand, so they're ranking for that. Chris Mercer, I rank for number 5 for my own name, which is pretty good considering there's a lot of Chris Mercers out there. Measurement marketing with no space, so number 1 here. A little bit of different with 1.3, probably because it's marketing.io. Now, there are marketing.io sites out there, other things, so maybe they're not looking for us, so we rank a little bit lower. From people who may not be looking specifically for measurementmarketing.io. Then there's people who actually literally have put it as quotes, like they definitely want to rank just for that, which is fine. And then you check this stuff out. Now, this is what's interesting to me because I see potential here where I say, okay, Academy, Google Tag Manager, people are looking for some sort of training around Google Tag Manager. We rank 8 pages deep, 9 pages deep almost here. So it's like, okay, that's not showing. Of course, it's not going to lead to clicks because it's buried. But here's the deal. I can see that with this report. I know that people searched for it, number 1. Number 2 is I see where Google thinks I rank for it. So maybe I can then go back and say, well, the homepage, remember, this is the homepage that we're looking at. How do I know that? I come up here. I'm looking at this landing page, just our homepage. And so when I'm trying to figure out my search strategy, I go, well, this page, this measurementmarketing.io homepage, is just to show it to you, just so we can all be seeing the same thing. The measurementmarketing.io homepage is not really designed to rank for Google Tag Manager Academy. It's more of a directory page to help you get started. Yes, it's got Google Tag Manager in there as a phrase, but again, not really designed to rank there. It's just designed to help people who are wanting to learn more about measurement marketing and move forward on whatever their next step is going to be. That's what it's designed to do. And for the most part, I think it does that really well. So with Google Analytics, I'm not overly concerned about this, but what I do look at is from a strategy perspective. This is a strategy session. From a strategy perspective, I look at this, go, okay, people are searching for Academy and Google Tag Manager. Maybe my Academy, my Measurement Marketing Academy page, which is the product for Measurement Marketing Academy, whether for freelancer or for teams, but I could rank for that because people are just typing in the search phrase. And if you think about it, these are just the 10. Like basically the homepage ranks for people who are looking for us. That's what I see here as kind of the short story. And I see these 10 results and I go, well, is this it? And you go, no, because if you look down here, it says 75. So it's 1 of 75. So always do this. Come through here and just expand everything because it alters what you now see. Now, keep in mind, it may not be most of the impressions and clicks. I sorted by clicks, so nothing else is getting click here. But I can see what people are looking for. So there is the Academy. They're looking for certified measurements. They're looking for, which it probably isn't anything related to analytics, but there. Chris Marketing, Chris Mercer Facebook, chrismercer.us, Chris Mercer Missing, which evidently I hope they found them. Data Studio Academy, Digital Marketer Login, free GTM course, Funnel.io, Google Academy GTM, Google Academy Marketing. So now it's Google Analytics Workshops. So all of this stuff. So this could be, I know that people are going to search for this. I know that I don't necessarily need my homepage to rank higher for this because that's not the job of the homepage. It's not there to tell people about Google Analytics Workshops as the best way to talk to them about that. That's a whole other page. We've got Win Monthly Pass for something like that. But it's good to know that people are searching for this, and you can keep seeing how much stuff. Even our buddy Justin is ranking there from Digital Marketer. So you see all this stuff that people are searching for as they're coming through. Obviously my last name, I go by Mercer, so why people are there's the Mercers. So looking for me. And so it's like all of that stuff, right? Win Mercer login. This is somebody who bought Win Monthly Pass, is probably looking for the login to get logged in. So they Googled it. There you go. So it's like all of this stuff that's back there. I think that's really cool. I can see all of this stuff that people are searching for, and that helps me understand the market a little better. So it's a twofold strategy. One is I'm seeing, does my page do what it needs to do? It's mostly ranking. So even though it says average position 19, when it comes to the clicks, it's definitely the higher rankings. And down here, for the ones that it's not ranking all that well for, it's not really designed to, and I don't really need it to. So I'm okay with an average ranking of 19, even though that looks scary, because it's really not that my homepage is showing on, the second page of Google all the time. It's that it's showing deep. Remember, that's an average. So it's deep in Google for a lot of stuff that I don't really need it to rank for anyway. So it's okay for the homepage. But I'm learning about all the stuff that they are looking for. And that's what we can use for the other pages. So we're going to go back to all. And let's talk about some pages that we do want to have rank, that we actually want to have out there. For example, like the blog. How does Google Analytics work? Easy guide for beginners. perfect to be able to acquire an audience for us that eventually become Toolbox members. Maybe I want to see that. So I would click onto this. Same thing we're going to do with we did with the homepage. I click onto it. Now remember, it didn't bring a lot of clicks. Average 46. That's not great, right? This is a blog post. So the blog post, is it designed to get its primary traffic source from Google? In this case, yes, because we're not doing a lot of paid traffic to it. We do some, but not a lot. So the blog post should be ranking in Google. We need it to rank in Google because it brings people into our site. They learn about Google Analytics for beginners and ultimately become maybe a Toolbox member and then upgrade into other memberships and courses that we have. It's how it's designed to work. It's how it's supposed to work. But clearly it's not because we only bring 2 clicks. So I'm going to sort by clicks, number 1. And I'm going to come down and see, well, Google Analytics Primer. Okay, we ranked on page 1 for that. That was 5. But honestly, probably not a lot of people looking for Google Analytics Primer, right? Just a starter for Google Analytics. But it's nice that we're doing that. Now we got to figure out, okay, how do we do other ones? Other people looking for how Google Analytics works. Now, how do I know that more people are searching for this than this? It's because of the impressions. Now, again, this is not telling you how many people searched for it. That's what you can do in Google Search. You can find that and use Keyword Helper and everything else in Google Ads. And there's lots of other ways and tools that help you to do that. But roughly speaking, I can see a lot more people, 53 to 1, that are looking for how Google Analytics works, which also makes sense, right? How Google Analytics works. But that I rank at 54. So if my goal is to improve my search ranking, this is Google telling me, yeah, I average 46, but in reality, I probably am substantially worse. Let's take out the outlier. Google Analytics Action, 230. Wow, I didn't know Google went to 230 deep. That's 24 pages deep. That's crazy, 23 pages deep. So yeah, that we take out. We take out this outlier of the one Google Analytics Primer. And if you think about it, I'm 54, 78, 78, 80, 90, right? Most of these are in the 80s and 90s, a couple in the 40s and 50s, but most of them are 70s, 80s, and 90s. That page is not doing well as a blog post. It's just not. So what do? We go and we take a look at it. So we're going to come through here and we're going to pull up our blog. So we just got to paste it back in. And this is how I want you to do it too. When you're thinking about how do I improve my search strategy and get better search results, this is what we're going to do. You come in, you take a look at it, and you think about it from the perspective of your users. And here's the kicker. You now have a better perspective of your users because you know what the search is that they're doing. And then you can see that Google is saying, well, here's what people that are searching for this. I'm showing it to them. It's just that Google thinks it's way down in the pack, right? It's not really the best thing that answers these queries. So now you know. Basic guide to Google Analytics. At a high level, how does Google Analytics work? Answers for Google Analytics for beginners. How Google Analytics works. Now, let's go through here. How does Google Analytics work? Good. Easy guide for beginners. Great. But maybe I could change that to basic guide to Google Analytics, right? A basic guide to Google Analytics, knowing how Google Analytics works, right? That sort of stuff. I could come through here and change some of the keywords in here, some of the way, again, we're not making this match so that bots or we're tricking bots or anything. We're just making it so that Google naturally uses the language that people are typing in. So this is the language people are typing in. It's not bots that looked for this. It's your users type this stuff in, or in our case, our users type this stuff in. So does Google Analytics work? Does Google, use cookies? Like all of that. We might be doing a little FAQ section that we could add here. Right? Let's talk about the main things people ask around Google. At a high level, how does Google Analytics work? I could repurpose and change the blog post. In fact, I am going to do that because I think it's a great idea. I'm going to come through here. I'm going to repurpose this blog post to basically match these and basically say, okay, let's talk about the main functions of Google Analytics. Now let's talk about the most popular questions we get asked around Google Analytics. And we're going to basically ask our questions here. So let's talk about how, give you some answers for Google Analytics as a beginner, right? And so that how at a high level, how Google Analytics works. At a high level, how does it work? Question number 1, right? As a, what's the other one? Does Google use cookies? Question number 2. I know what you're thinking. Does Google Analytics use cookies? Let's figure it out. Now, again, there's not a lot of people searching for that, but it's there. We would have captured that one. We could certainly rank better than 9 here, 9 pages deep. But these things, how Google Analytics works, at a high level, how does analytics work? I can change my blog post because now I understand 2 things I'm looking at here. I understand what people are searching for, and now I can sort of tell Google I am the best source to answer that particular question for beginners, especially for beginners, because obviously we teach this stuff with beginners in mind. So we can now be the source that helps Google do that, and I can change some of the content to match a little bit better, should improve my search ranking, which I'll obviously be able to measure, which is nice because I'll see that it rises. And then if I go back here, I'm going to go back to the all, and we're just going to look at this blog post, the Easy Guide for Beginners blog post. What I can then do is I can tie it to results. So right now I'm not getting any leads, but I could tie it. I'm just going to flip up all goals here, but I could say, okay, is this getting us any results at all? And it really isn't. And so how do I know that things are not really good, that it's not matching the expectation of the users? So even if they do click over, which a couple did, how do I know it's not matching the expectation? I can come over here and I can see, well, bounce rate's 100%, which means they all left. They saw the page and left. They didn't do anything else. They saw one page, they were gone. Nothing else was achieved. And yes, I know it's not a lot of clicks, but that's not the point here. The point is I can get this to rank higher. If it ranks higher, because in my search results, right, is part of the reason I'm not getting clicks, even though it looks like a lot of impressions, those impressions are buried on 7, 8, 9, right, pages. So of course no one's seeing them, not really. So the people that are seeing them are clicking through, but not a lot of people are seeing them. So now that I can learn, I can just click into this one section. I can learn about what they're looking for. Then I can adjust the post so that in theory, it should match better the answers that people are looking for. It should better answer it, which means Google should recommend it at a higher rate, which means it rises in the rankings, more traffic comes in, then I can measure that traffic, change, my position should go up, and then I can also measure against the result at the page level. Remember, I can't do it to a specific query, but I can definitely do it at the page level, which is super useful. So I can come through and see that. And then you would do that same thing for other ones. So if I have this other, let's just do this one, the hacking your sales funnel using Google Analytics. So I can click into here, and this is probably a lot of people searching for stuff. Look at this, a lot more impressions, which means Google gave it a lot more room, right? Gave it a lot more stuff. And if I go out, I see 166 different versions of stuff people are looking for. So I'm going to bring them all up. Again, why do you do this? Because of ideas, right? So I can see funnel analytics, sales funnel analytics. What is a funnel in Google Analytics? What is a funnel in analytics? Marketing funnel analytics, sales funnel tracking. So I can see all of this stuff. There's one for ClickFunnels, platform specific. And I can see lots of people looking for this. And it's different variations of the same thing. But to Google, they're completely separate. If they weren't, they would not be as separate lines. So it's putting them all separate here. And I can see all the stuff that people are looking for. So I can have this mindset to say, okay, this is what they searched for. This is the phrases they typed into Google Analytics, these users. This is the stuff they probably wanted to know. What was the perfect content to suggest to them? And Google, if I rank by average position again, here is 49. I'm going to change this. I'm just going to sort it by average position. See, 100, that's not great. I don't want to see 100 at all. So what I would do is I would come down, I'm going to change it to 9. This is the best we did. Funnel sale, how to create funnel. I don't know why we ranked number 9 there, but we did. So at least it was page 1, but not really useful. How to create a funnel, sales funnel, build funnels, none of this stuff. We're not really, all the stuff people were really searching for, we're number 2. Here, you see they're searching 106, we're number 25. If I come down to other ones, 118, we're number 32. So the ones that Google's actually showing us in the results, they're just not really useful because it's burying us, which of course is why we get no clicks, a very low click-through rate, which, by the way, pushes us down further in the ranks because Google goes, well, I showed it to them, but nobody cared. Well, yeah, you showed it on page 7. Come on, Google, give me a break. But I need to convince Google. I need to change how Google looks at my page and say, well, this is what they're searching for. This is what Google's showing the page for, but is it really best suited for that? So again, what do? We just copy this out. We're going to paste that in instead. And we're going to look at that blog post, right? That page. And you can do this with sales pages. We won't go through the rest of this. I want you to see it at least again to go through. But you can go through this process with your sales pages, whatever else is ranking or not ranking, and say, okay, well, here's where we have ClickFunnels and lead pages. That's good. We know ClickFunnels is in there at least. But funnel basics, but did people come looking for the funnel basics? Funnels within Google Analytics? Nobody typed that in, but that's one of our subheads. But they're not actually typing that in. They're not looking for that. So maybe we don't, that means they're not using that terminology. Let's use the terminology that they use. So instead of funnels within Google Analytics, I might come in here and say, okay, let me go back to impressions. We're going to sort by impression just to see what people are really looking for. And so I might say sales funnels with Google Analytics. What is a funnel in Google Analytics? Look at that. What is a funnel in Google Analytics would be a much better headline. Not funnels within. What is a funnel? And I know that sounds weird and petty. To me, it is a little bit. But from the algorithm's perspective in Google, this is totally different. What is a funnel in Google Analytics? I rank 3 pages down. But why can't I just put that there? Chances are, if I said, what is a funnel? Let's first start with, what is a funnel in Google Analytics? And then I take this section, I rework it so that it actually answers that question. What is a funnel in Google Analytics? And how can you use it? And blah, 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 blah. And if I do that, I will rank higher because Google will go, oh, this content actually answers this question better. So whenever somebody searches for this, you rank higher. If I rank higher, more people will actually see it because just an impression doesn't mean they saw it. Chances are they didn't. The more people that see it, the more clicks I get. And then I can tie those clicks again at a page level. I can come into my landing page report and Search Console, and I can come down and say, okay, this page, how many results did it get? In this case, I got 1 lead, which is great, but maybe we want more, right? Because again, it's being buried because the position is so low. So this is it's a detailed process, but it's really pretty simple. We come into the landing page report, you click into it to get a really good understanding, to learn about your market. Imagine how much money you're going to be able to make if you understand your market better, just from a strategy perspective, from a measurement perspective. If you understand the conversation that they're having with your site, and quite literally, if again, clicking into this landing page report, quite literally, they are telling you the words they're using. This is truly their conversation. It's their words. From a copywriting perspective, you can improve your copy. From a content marketing perspective, you can improve your content. Obviously, all that will help you to improve your search results. There's lots of benefits to going through this. Even if you've kind of watched this far and be like, well, I don't really care about search traffic. I use all paid traffic. Still, look what people are searching for. Look what Google thinks that you should rank for. Look at the words they use. Just from a copywriting perspective, this stuff is gold. So go through this report. Now, I want to point out one other report that's in here. And I would say your one thing really should be landing page report. It's what we do. It works the best. It is the simplest. You come in, you do a deep dive, you understand everything, you show all the results always. Then you come in, you look at the page. Now that you know what people are searching for, how well does that page meet the expectation of what the search was? How can you make it better? That will rise your rankings and then improve traffic. Rinse and repeat. Like that's the basic, simplest, easiest way to do this stuff. Now, there are other ways you can use Search Console. I'm going to show you one quick one, which is this query. So instead of landing page, you do query. So what is this? This is telling us basically what they looked for. It's like all the queries of all the pages that ever we ranked for and that Google did an impression for. So it's not per page, right? Which means it's not as defined. So yes, it's nice to know people looking for measurement marketing.io, but I don't know what Google showed them as the page, right? So it's like, okay, well, good to know, but it is not as defined as landing pages, which is why I really like landing page report. But if you're just doing kind of market research and trying to figure stuff out, this is how you can do it. You see, I've got 903 total queries now. We can expand that out because this is everything combined, and they're all kind of on that one level. So we can come through here and you can see everything that's in here. That, Data Studio, people looking for Data Studio. I can see if I was developing a new course, if I wanted to develop maybe more content for Data Studio, I could do that because I can see what they're looking for as they're coming through. And I can see Facebook, lots of Facebook stuff. Here's funnel stuff, lots of funnel stuff. So talk about just marketing content. Look how much funnel stuff was there. GA, people searching for GA. Now these people, because they're calling it GA, if you aren't yet, you probably will soon. You'll call it GA just like we do. Those people probably know a little thing about Google Analytics because they're calling it GA. But that's important. Why would we not want to rank for them? We want to be in front of them with stuff. So maybe we should do some content called GA, when you're using GA and kind of put that phrase in our content. Goal flow report looks to be something of interest for some people. Funnel reports, again, more funnel reports coming through. You can see all this stuff just from pure market research. Obviously, a lot of analytics stuff, which is good. So we're in impressions with a good amount of it. But again, was it really causing the results? Probably not. We need better results from this. So the queries report is there, and I want you to know that you can use it and just use it kind of for general. I really like the landing pages one because that's the one that you already start with like, okay, they're seeing this page. How did they get to this page? Why did Google think this page was the right page for them to come to? And you can learn a lot about how Google thinks about you, how the expectations that your market had about you, and if that's the right page. Like I said, in one case, the measurementmarketing.io homepage, I won't change. I don't need it to rank for everything they were looking for. It probably shouldn't rank for some of that stuff, but I can just make other pages more focused to rank on those other questions, and it'll work better for me. And of course, I can tie it in and I can say, just overall, if I say, okay, well, how many, leads were created here. So if I came and said leads, I can see measurementmarketing.io homepage is what's creating leads. The tracking your traffic in Google Analytics, creating leads. So again, I'm just going to sort by goal completions here. And again, talk about strategy. This is a strategy session. How do we use the stuff that's already built out? And if you don't have goals and if you don't have Search Console connected and you don't know how to do that because you have an implementer team doing that, fine. Work with your implementers. They'll help you get this stuff set up. But here I've got, this page generating leads. I've got this page, the blog. This is a good blog for us. Okay. It's generating some leads. Great. What's different maybe about this blog? That's the other ones. I can go in. I would do the same thing. I would look at 101 different things people are looking for. And then see, but I'm at average position 73, which means I'm buried. It's generating leads and I'm buried down here in Google. Come on, right? What do we do to rank for these? Well, what we need to do is come through here and say all these different phrases people are looking for. I got to go into my page and I got to set up and say, okay, what's in that blog post and how can we change it? There's a lot of actual UTM_ content and here's how to use this in analytics. Maybe I can break it out and say, here's how to use UTM_ content in Google Analytics. And then I have another section. Here's how to use _UTM term in Google Analytics, right? And then another section, here's how to use underscore source with Google Analytics. So it's like all of that stuff we can put in there, improve the messaging that we have, right? What it means, like all the stuff that people are looking for. UTM content in Google Analytics, UTM Medium, UTM Source. We put all this stuff in there. So there's lots of cool things that we can do to help us rank, because we get an idea, as I scroll up to the top here, what people are really looking for. And it helps us to improve the content, which should improve the ranking, because that content will better answer the questions that they're asking. Google will love us for that, because it'll rank higher, it'll start getting clicks, and people will become leads, participate in the journey. Google will rank us higher and higher and higher. That's the concept between how to use Google Analytics to improve your landing pages. And we are going through this exact process right now, because search for us was just something that was like a nice to have. It was never something that we cultivated, not really, other than the fact we put out content. We didn't even have a blog for the first few years. So we started doing that, and then we sort of stopped. And now that we've got a bunch of data to play with, we can say, well, actually, we are getting some results from this. Like, well, okay, that's great. But now let's make stuff happen. Let's not just have the stuff happen to us. So this is what we're doing. You come through landing pages, look at the search queries, visit the actual page itself, see how well that actually is answering those questions, adjust the content while necessary, rinse and repeat. Give it a little bit of time for Google to kind of update and start. It's not an overnight success, but a lot of times you can see some pretty massive improvements pretty quickly. And ultimately, you'll be able to see the results as well. All right. So with that, we'll go ahead and bring this one to a close. Hopefully you grabbed at least one new thing from this whole adventure. Maybe the fact of how to connect Search Console. If you haven't done that before, it actually is really easy. And if it's not easy for you, if it's not showing you that you have a Search Console created, because you have to have a account in Search Console. But if you do have one and it's not showing in your Google Analytics, it's because the emails are off. But if they are the same email, it's because it was the domain type and not the URL prefix type. So just know that. Maybe it was the idea of how to use a landing page report and diving into these and expanding out and seeing how the market is actually what they're typing in, and why Google is kind of like your best friend recommending that, those users go see your site. And so you can understand why Google thinks you're important. You can understand what the results, how they're interacting, and the bounce rates and everything else that comes through to show engagement. There's so much that you can learn and that you can take to improve your own marketing results. It's amazing what is in that report. And you can spend at least, and I would recommend probably at least 20 to 30 minutes picking a couple of your high impression pages to learn of how that process goes, because it'll change how you do things. And what's nice about it is you're not guessing. You're seeing exactly what they typed into Google, and that's fantastic. It's amazing that they offer that. So take advantage of it. All right. Now, if you want to learn more about this, if you're not yet an active member and you want to learn about all of this fun stuff, whether Google Analytics or Tag Manager, Data Studio, or just more about measurement strategy, go to measure.tips/courses. It will take you to that page, and you can learn more about the different Kickstarter packs that we have that are courses you can buy just around analytics or Tag Manager, whatever else that you want. You could also get Win Monthly Pass, which is personally what I would recommend, at least that package. It's all of it. So you have access to everything. We do new Win courses every 4 to 6 weeks. There's a ton back there for you. All right, next week's topic is a what's new topic. So we're going to switch to what's new. That is the first Wednesday of the month. We do this every month. And we're going to take a look back at July. And we're going to say, okay, what was released, what was new in July 2020? And we're going to look at all the changes in analytics, in Tag Manager, in Data Studio, all the new features and updates so that you can be kept up to date and keep your saw sharp. So do go ahead and make sure that you join us for that next week. And remember, the best way to do that is to subscribe to us on YouTube, because you will be notified as we do that once it's live. So go to subscribe. The other way that you can do this is become a part of the Measurement Marketing Toolbox membership. Now, in the Toolbox, you have lots of things. There's Workshop Wednesday, which is this. We've got our videos that are there, and every week they get replaced out with a new workshop, so you can always be kept up to date. But there's also all these other tools, like the Traffic Tracking Toolkit, like the Google Analytics Report Card. If you're a little bit more advanced, you've got the GTM Cookbook or the Regex Heroes Guide. But there's literally over 40 some odd tools that are back there that you have access to that are completely free for you to use. It is our way of giving back to the community, help you if you want free training, if you want free tools, if you want to practice your skills to make sure this is something you really want to learn and that we're hopefully the right teachers for you. This is the way to do it. You get a ton of value. Take as much as you want, use it for as long as you like. It is a Toolbox membership. It is totally free. All you need to do is go to measure.tips/WW to activate that. It'll take you to the Toolbox membership page, and you can create your Toolbox membership and get it all activated for you. So measure.tips/WW will take you there. All right. With that, we'll bring this one officially to a close. This has been Strategy Session, using Google Analytics to improve search rankings. Thanks again for watching this workshop, and we will see you on the next one. Take care.